In this video, I'm going to show you how to set up a project for Nios 2 dev tools for Eclipse. First things, what we need to do is create a software directory in our project. So go to local disk, Altera, My Systems, System 1, and in here, right click, new folder. We're going to call this software. And in the software folder that we just created, we're going to right click, create another folder called workspace. Okay, now start and open up the Nios 2 software build tools for Eclipse. Here we're going to choose that workspace that folder workspace that we just created. So let's go to C, Altera, My Systems, System 1, Software, Workspace. Okay. This is where all of our workspace settings and everything are going to be saved, and it's going to link to where all of our files are. Now, let's get things up and running. We're going to create a new project. So File, New, Nios 2 Application, BSP from Template. We're just going to go from a template right now. Make things easy. We need to find that SOPC information file. So the one we generated in Quartus. PC, local. Altera, My Systems, System 1, Nios 2 System, SOPC info. Okay. Let's name this project. And again, there can be no spaces in your project name. So if we try to put a space there, it'll come up and tell us that there's a problem and we can't do that. So here we go. We're going to come down, and since we only have on-chip memory in this moment in time on our system, we can't use the huge library of Seek. So it's going to download the entire library on C to the FPGA. We don't have enough space for that. So we're going to use the Hello World small as a template right now. And we're going to want to use the default location for the project location, which, just to point out, this right here is going to go to the software directory that we just created. And next, this is going to be for our BSP, which has all of the linking between the hardware and software. So it takes care of all the hardware linking for you, so you don't really have to touch any of the hardware right here. So you could be a software designer and just do software on this. You don't ever have to touch the hardware side. So we're going to use this as the default location, which again is going to that same software directory. I'm going to click finish. All right, so this built both of our two projects right here, Hello World and Hello World BSP. So we're going to right click on the Hello World BSP, go to Properties, Nios 2 BSP Properties, click BSP Editor. This will launch the BSP Editor. And now in the BSP Editor, there's sysclock timer, we don't have one, timestamp timer, we don't have one. Make sure std in, out, and stderr is all set to JTAG. Next, we're going to have on-chip memory, and on-chip memory for the interrupt stack and the exception stack, which is correct. And then we're also going to check out our linker script and make sure all of these go to on-chip memory, and that our on-chip memory and our reset vectors are all set up in here, which they all are. That's good. Now we're going to click generate. And down here you can see that it's been generated. So now that we can generate it, we can exit, wait for it to refresh. And then in here we can click OK. Next, we want to come over here to Hello World. And just to show you, this is your entire project working directory. You do not want to touch any of the files in the BSP. These are all files you just don't want to touch. They're there, but don't touch them. Next, so in here you want to see the Hello World small, the make file and stuff like that. You're not really interested in any of these other files besides this C file for right now. The C file is a small Hello World example. It basically includes the Altera input output, and it's just going to push a string Hello World from Nios 2, and then loop the program. So just have the program sit there, wait, and this is going to print out to our console. So okay, that's good. Right click on this project and go to build project. You have to build a project before you can run it or anything like that. And at this point you can see the build finished. There are no problems. There's no problems in our code or anything like that. So now let's go plug in our board and we'll run this project on the actual FPGA. Now that we've turned on the FPGA, we actually have to download our system on there before we can download our software and run it on the FPGA. To download the software onto the FPGA, we're going to come up here to Nios 2 and go to Quartus 2 Programmer. This programmer can also be opened in Quartus itself or through the DevTools. So first we have to come up here and set up, make sure our hardware is set up, okay, that we can see the USB Blaster 0. If it's set to no hardware up here, you're not going to be able to download anything, and you're going to come in here and have to find the USB Blaster and it closed. There's no apply or anything like that. Next, we're going to add files. We're going to locate where our files are, our system's actually located. So my systems, system 1, output files, Nios 2 time limited. Click open. This pop-up's telling me that since we're using the web edition, we don't have full unrestricted access to download to our board the Nios 2 hardware. So it's telling me that it only works in a tethered mode and it's a time evaluation. So far the time evaluation is only while it's tethered, so if you disconnect the USB Blaster, it will stop working on the board. So we're going to click OK. We see our chain is just one processor for right now in one system. You could do multiple systems here. You could do fancy configurations. But right now we're just going to do our one system and hit start. Up here in the top right, we can see our progress. And this right here, you have to leave this window open for the board to continue. This is our connection, and that's telling us we have unlimited time, but we have to stay tethered. So we leave the programmer open, go back to the DevTools. We're going to right click on our Hello World and go to Run As Nios 2 Hardware. And since this is our first time running this, we're going to get this pop-up basically saying, hey, we don't know where things are located at. So we're going to have to refresh our connections under target connection, refresh connections. Now that we have them there, we're also going to want to hit ignore mismatch system ID and ignore mismatch timestamps. We don't have a timestamp. We have a system ID, but it's going to get mismatched because we don't have a timestamp. We're going to click apply to that and then click run. And as you can see, it printed back hello from Nios 2. So that's it for this lesson. The next lesson I'm going to show you how to use the debug tools in the Nios 2 build tools for Eclipse. And all this documentation is on fpga.seanwrl.com, along with all the source code and files and builds to our systems are on there as well.